I'm sorry. The internet doesn't want you to live anymore. It's okay. It's for the channel. Hey guys, it's TomBox here. Welcome to MST.TV. Now, as per the video title, this video will teach you guys how to crush that Thunder Dragon mashup. I know the deck has only come out recently, and you guys already want to put it in its place. Right at the very top of... I'm just kidding. You guys want to put it down to the ground already because it has a very annoying matchup where it doesn't let the other guy play, and you're immediately in red alert threat where you're going to be losing the game if you don't have a single play available. Yeah, it really sucks and it cuts the game down. So, as a Thunder Dragon player myself, this is some of the stuff I faced and I find very annoying. And well, I had to tune my deck to actually deal with several of these cards, especially in the side deck department, and I even had to modify my extra deck because some of these techs are just really annoying, and some of them even caught me by surprise. So in this video, we're going to be covering three categories of cards. We're going to talk about floodgates, we're going to talk about hand traps, and we're going to talk about board breaking techs. So if you guys enjoy this, well, stay tuned. And I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreons for keeping the support real. Love you all. You guys, of course, can request proxies. I will work on them very soon. I just had to deal with the mat that I was working with Imperium Duelist for the Tour Guide Police Patrol dual color limited edition mat. Had a lot of little struggles there, but that's moved on. But if you guys don't want to support me on Patreon, but you still want to show your support, you can check out the membership. I'm going to be working on loyalty badges and probably emotes. Probably going to get like a really cool emote like, oh man, 200 IQ or 500 IQ plays and hashtag misplay as an emote, because who makes more misplays on this channel except for me, of course. Anyways, that being said, let's get into this video. Alright, we're going to start off with hand traps. And with hand traps, why them? Because they are the first line of defense when you go second. And I got 5 hand traps for you guys. There's going to be Ghost Belle, Ghost Ogre, Ash Blossom, we have Gamma, and we also have Drone Lockbird. So these are the 5 usual suspects. And I guess that was kind of a given. But what do you hit with each one of these? I'll also talk about that. And if you guys have a better target to hit, leave it down in the comment section below. I want to know how I can also find other ways to get my ass handed to me. And you can share it with the class down in the comment section so they can also gain some of your knowledge. And I thank you guys for that. So the first one is going to be Ghost Belle. What do you hit with Ghost Belle? I think the main target is going to be a Thunder Dragon Hawk. You want to negate that card because if you're successfully able to negate the activation of Thunder Dragon Hawk, note that all these cards are hard once per turn. They're not going to be able to activate another one. So that's one thing. Note that you cannot special summon out Thunder Dragon Colossus unless you already had a Thunder Dragon card that was activated successfully from the hand. If it was negated, well, you do not get to special summon Thunder Dragon Colossus. So, that being said, yeah, that is one of the main targets. Even if they use Monster Reborn on something, it doesn't mean that they can do it. They actually have to commit additional resources to go into their fusions and into their extra decks. So, good for you if you're able to successfully stop them. That's why Ghost Belle should mainly be hitting the Thunder Dragon Hawk. However, there are other things that you can hit too, like a Monster Reborn, and you can also hit a Soul Charge if they play Soul Charge. Next up, we have Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, note this isn't exactly in any order, but these are situations that you may or may not face. Now, Ghost Ogre, I think the main thing that I really don't like getting hit on would probably be the Solar Battery Man, or Battery Man Solar. Because Battery Man Solar, when the moment I revive or summon out a Thunder monster, that's when I gain that additional token, which sets up the Summoner. Summoner. Okay, I don't know the name of that card very well, but you guys kind of get the idea, which allows me to set up the double or triple play of triple Colossus or double Colossus plus a Titan. And being able to stop that with just an Ogre, I think hitting that particular monster is usually where it's at. Of course, if your opponent has multiple extenders, there's not much you can do about it, and even Ghost Ogre won't be able to stop very much else aside from that. But that being said, I still find it very annoying when that monster gets like destroyed or anything like that. It is very annoying in my opinion. So if you have Ghost Ogre in your deck, or you're a bit more budget in terms of your hand trap, hit this Solar Battery Man, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at that. Next up, we have Ash Blossom Joy Spring. What do you hit? You have multiple targets you can hit. You have 3. You have Thunder Dragon Fusion. If they're doing a follow-up play, that's probably the card that you want to hit, because it is not likely that they have the Thunder Dragon Hawk to redo and replay that whole combo all over again. So if they banish a Thunder Dragon Fusion from the graveyard to search their deck, that's your moment to drop an Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. That is a pretty decent moment. Another moment would be the early opening play through Gold Sark. They throw away their Thunder Dragon Dark. If they throw away the Thunder Dragon Dark, you can consider to well, negate the Thunder Dragon Dark from searching out. Probably, if it's an opening play, it's most likely going to be a Thunder Dragon Hawk. So you can stop the search of a Thunder Dragon Hawk, which is good for you. You can also stop the Thunder Dragon Roar from summoning out from the deck if they go immediately into that. Probably want to drop it because it also is a sign that they don't have Hawk in their hand at this very moment. So that's a good sign for you. And of course, if you have nothing else to hit, you can also hit the Batterman Solar from dropping the monster into the graveyard. Usually, I don't think that's a really good idea, because if they have any other way to summon out a Thunder Dragon, if you're able to handle one Thunder Dragon, then yeah, hit that Batterman Solar so that they're forced to go into one dude instead of multiple. Alright, next up we have Gamma. Gamma can just negate anything, so pick your target carefully based on the read that you get. I get that Gamma does destroy the target, and if they have Hawk, I think you should probably save it for the Hawk, or mainly the revival cards. Next, finally, we have Joan Lockbird. Just activate as early as possible. That's all there is to it, because if you can stop them early, they are not going to be able to activate the regular Thunder Dragon. The Thunder Dragon Dark won't be able to search. Thunder Dragon Matrix won't be able to search. And you might even lock them out of a Thunder Dragon Fusion, potentially. That is gonna get a search as well. So one of them will get a search, and then you can maybe block 3 other searches from potentially happening. So that would be the hand trap counter against the deck. What are your thoughts on that? And now we'll move on to Floodgates. So for Floodgates, bear in mind that a lot of decks already have in their extra deck built-in outs to most of these spells and traps. Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, and for Thunder Dragons we have Thunder Dragon Titan. If you can bait out some of these cards, these Floodgates will sit there for a lot longer. So if you get them to sit there a lot longer, good for you. So the first Floodgate I really hate dealing with is Imperial Iron Wall. Like, to be honest, this particular card shuts down many lines of play, especially when you go first. You turn off all the Gold Sark, which is, I guess, arguably one of the best cards in the entire deck, not once per turn. So if you open multiples, it really hurts. The Allure of Darkness will no longer be able to activate, and yeah, that just completely sucks as well, because it's one of your main draw engines. If you do play that particular card, you can't summon out BLS or Thunder Dragon Duo or Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So these are also all completely shut out. So you lose a lot of options in your main phase. That's one of the key things. It also turns off your triggers from your Dark Thunder Dragons and all your other Thunder Dragon main deck monsters. There's just so many things that you lose, and also your fusion monsters lose their protection. Just a whole bunch of debuff going on to your deck, and that's coming from one Floodgate, which is Imperial Iron Wall, because this deck really depends on banishing. Don't try to side in macro against the deck, because we will benefit off of every single card that we throw out. Now, that being said, the next Floodgate is going to be Secret Village of the Spellcasters, or Imperial Orders, a spell Floodgate. If you have it in combination with Imperial Iron Wall, let me tell you some of the stuff that we side in. Like Evenly Match is going to get shut down by the Imperial Iron Wall, as in the Twin Twister will be stunned out by your I guess Secret Village of the Spellcasters or the Imperial Order. So you have multiple things that actually can shut us down, and that is very, very devastating. And on to the next one. This one is about a monster Floodgate, very similar to Rivalry of Warlords, except that this time we can only control one monster from each type. There can be only one. So if I already control a Thunder monster on the field, I cannot perform a summon of another Thunder monster. So all Thunder monsters are locked out the moment I have one Thunder monster on the field. Just keep that in mind, because the ruling, I'm gonna put out the precedent ruling here, which is the Rivalry of Warlords. Say I have a Sangan on the field, and I want to tribute summon that Sangan. if that monster has to match the type if it was Rivalry of Warlords. I cannot summon out a Jinzo using that Sangan because it's not an option. Even for synchroing options, I can't synchro into an option that isn't matching of the same type. And that being said, using that as a premise, well, you can kind of just reapply it here, where if I try to, say, tribute summon a Thunder Dragon Hawk using my Thunder Dragon Matrix, I can't do that because I would be attempting to be putting up another monster of the same type. It's just I am locked out. So would I even be able to tribute it to summon out my Thunder Dragon Colossus? The thing is, that is not an option. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You might be locked into just one monster. So the only way that you can really get out your boss monster would be to use Thunder Dragon Fusion. So that's one way of getting out your Thunder Dragon Titan and then potentially popping that floodgate. But aside from that, you're just locked into a really weenie board. Maybe you'll play with some of the beat sticks, and if your opponent is able to play multiple monsters, well, let's just say, well, might as well shake the hand because you're gonna die right there. Another fun kind of a floodgate would be Gozen Match. Gozen Match, note that we run both light and dark. So if we go into one line of play, we lose the other option. If we go into Colossus, we can't go into Titan. If we go into Titan, we can't go into Colossus. Well, if we go into Titan, we can try to pop it. But if you have Disruption, that's it. There's not much I can say about it. We can't use it a Phoenix to pop it. We can try to use a Unicorn, but to go into a Unicorn, we have to set up the board to the point that we have 2 extenders to get there. Because for us to make a Link 3 with just Darks, it's very, very difficult because Matrix can't go into a Link Rebo because Matrix is light, the Link Rebo is dark. So there's a lot of things that kind of trip over each other. And finally, Soul Drain as the last floodgate, just turn off the entire graveyard. So just losing our entire triggering mechanic from all our Thunder Dragon monsters. Just lots of stuff that just kind of sucks. And as for board breaking and counter cards against Thunder Dragons, I kind of split into 2 categories. We have going first and going second. And I'm going to share it with you guys right now. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of context, the board that they usually set up would be that there would be 2 Colossus and a Titan, or triple Colossus depending on the matchup. Or maybe if they get smarter, they put up less so that they have more resource in their hand to kind of counter you later on. Or maybe they have their own variations of floodgates available in the back row. So what you need to consider is this. If you want to break the board, there are many ways of doing it. One way is through monster removal. Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode is one thing that comes to mind. You can just eat up triple Colossus or like double Colossus Titan. Just drop it and there goes most of the extra deck. They can recover from this, just keep that in mind, because 1 copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion, and it is very likely that they have a copy if they went into that combo which sets up triple, because it usually ends with a Thunder Dragon Dark somewhere in there that gets sent to the graveyard and they add it to their hand. So you might have to deal with a Titan later on if you do use a Winged Dragon Ball Sphere mode. Aside from that, if they don't put up that many, you can also use cards like Kaijus to eat up their monsters, because non-targeting removal is one of the most ideal ways to clear them off. If you have the space with the Kaiju and maybe use Kaijus against Sky Strikers, that is a potential option that you can have in your side deck. Aside from that, another very fun one that I've seen getting a bit more popular, it's going to be Super Poly, because just because your opponent runs Thunder Dragon doesn't mean that you can. If they go triple Colossus, that is when you go Super Poly, all 3 of them into the graveyard and summon out your own Titan. Or if you have space in your extra deck and you have a dark monster available, you can also go into Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and that can clear up the problem. And of course, this card is not respondable, therefore it's always going to go through and you're going to be able to clear the problem card right then and there. Now, aside from just Kaijus, the other ways of removing it would be like evenly matched, because getting stuff banished face down is not the most ideal thing for them. They can recover face down banished cards if and only if they run Thunder Dragon Duo. It might not be the most popular thing, but I realize that Thunder Dragon Duo has become one of the more stable cards against a competent Sky Striker player, which doesn't really proc off my effects very much, so that if I do use a Thunder Dragon Duo, I can proc it off my own turn, and then I can start a huge line of play thanks to banishing of my own dark monsters. That being said, other cards that you can try out would be negation. So Thunder Dragons are really good at protecting themselves from destruction. However, every other form of board removal is fair game, or even board negation. So if you're gonna look at something more expensive, you have infinite impermanence to turn off the Colossus so that you can make your play. And once they get turned off, they can't protect themselves anymore. So that is also another very ideal thing about negation. You can also use monster controlled stealing, such as Widow Anchor and Mind Control. Mind Control being a very easy option because you can just link it off afterwards. And I guess another way that you can play against them, if you want to be a bit more, I guess, budget, you can also try out Forbidden Chalice to turn them off. You might buff them up, but if you have other forms of destruction, then you can use those options then. And in terms of like monster-based removal, Nightmare Unicorn, I know it's a pricey card, but it is pricey for a reason, because it is such a generic out to almost every possible card in the game, where you just target a card and just send it back into the deck. And deck sending is always, in my opinion, a really good option to clear anything on the field, because it avoids triggering most things. And of course, if you have access to a borrow load, go for the borrow load. Just take the Thunder Dragon Colossus, because there's nothing worse for a Thunder Dragon player than not being able to search anymore. And that really sucks. If you can't OTK them, steal their Thunder Dragon Colossus. Now, in terms of if you do go first, what are the things that you can make their turn even worse? So these are some of the stuff that you might side out hand traps, and then you decide to switch it in. So one card that I recently dealt with, which was surprisingly annoying, was Baguska. Of all things, because they are fusion monsters, they're forced to go into defense mode, and once they're forced into defense position, I realized that because most people don't run Nightmare Cerberus, so they can't just clear off the Baguska. And since they can't clear off the Baguska, the Thunder Dragon, Titan, and Colossus will be put into defense position, and I guess the physical attack from these monsters are very unlikely. But their effects are technically still on. Their continuous effects are still live. It's just that their activated effects are all basically negated. And it really messed up my tempo completely. Especially if you're a very aggressive deck and you're able to kind of hold the turn with just a Baguska. You can know that the next turn you can easily OTK your opponent. So other cards, I guess Dimensional Barrier was an easy given one. It just completely wrecks the matchup, where you can just like call fusions, and you can turn off the fusion on your own turn so that your opponent's cards have no effects, or you can use it so that they can't even summon out the card. It is brilliant. And Call by the Grave, of course, another very decent option as well, especially if you use it to hit the Thunder Dragon Hawk to negate it. Remember, Thunder Dragon Hawk does not target, so don't try to hit a target per se, but instead just hit the Hawk. And you can also use it to banish some of the options that activate in the graveyard. Say they send stuff from the field to grave, you can turn those off with Call by the Grave. But not exactly the best option when you're going second, when stuff has already established. And though that kind of covers my counter to Thunder Dragons. This is how you crush them. You pick the perfect timing, make sure they get low on resources, and don't let them recover from that point forward. And multiple flight gates do help out, and these are the ways that I've been defeated using Thunder Dragons. And well, that's all I got for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed it, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit the subscribe button and consider being a member. I am really trying to work my way up here, and dedicating a lot of time and effort, you know, just trading in, I guess, sleep time. So if I look sleepy in this video, you guys know why, because the current time is now I guess it's 2 a.m. Anyways, I gotta go sleep, guys, so I guess I'm done with my turn. Hopefully I didn't get a slow play warning in this game, so I proceed to the end phase. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.